Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Ignite. This is going to be my second tutorial in the Devlog series. In this video, we are trying to learn how to program the enemy AI which responds to the player when the player is close enough to it in some way. Maybe it will react to the player's presence in some way, or maybe it will start attacking the player as soon as the player gets in range. For this video, I am using Unity 2019.3 and Visual Studio 2019. Let's get started. So here is an empty scene, and let me set up a basic scene. Like I will take a cube for which will act as the floor cube. So floor cube with the dimension of x 100, y would be 0.1, z would be 100 again. Okay, so this we have a floor. So we'll take a capsule for now. Going to be the player capsule. We'll take it above the ground, and to give it a face, we'll add a simple cube which will act like a face of the player. Let's change the dimensions accordingly. Okay, so this would act like a face of the player. Okay, so now we have the player. We should duplicate it to make it as an enemy as well. This is going to be our enemy capsule. This is the enemy capsule. Let's face them at some distance. And here is our main camera. So when the game starts, I want my camera to be looking like this a bit, so that we get a better view of what's going on instead of it staying here. So what I'll do is I'll click on the camera, game object, align with view. So the camera automatically switches to the view we have in the scene tab. Okay, this is the basic setup of our what you can say the game. We will just create few materials. These materials will help us to identify what enemy is and which one of this is the player and which one is the ground. So for our reference, we are going to create 3 materials. One would be for floor. Let's make it kind of white, and let's assign it. So this would be our floor, and for enemy, let's have a red kind of a color with no smoothness. So if you reduce smoothness, it will take away the gloss. It will kind of look real, so I kind of like it. So we have this enemy here, and for player, let's create a green material. Okay, so we have a player. Let's have a greenish material. So our player is also ready. So now let's jump into the programming part. Yeah, but before jumping to programming part, there are some things that we should consider here. Okay, both player and enemy capsule have the basic kind of collider. So this is what we need. Apart from this, we need to attach rigid body to both of this. So rigid body is ready. So it's usually better to freeze the rotation on X and Z, else what may happen is as soon as the game starts, they may kind of like fall flat, and like the entire control will go out of hand because we won't be able to control it the way we want it. Okay, so everything is done, and for enemy we need a small sensor. So to create a sensor, we will add a box collider. We'll take the box collider and we will resize it. X would be around 10, Y would be around 0.1, and Z would be 10. and after this we are going to move this to the floor. So the center would be x will be 0, y will be 0.5 minus 0.5. So it kind of stays on the ground. The sensor should stay on the ground. Okay, it's close enough. And let's move the player capsule a bit further. And what we'll do is for this tutorial, what I'm doing is I'm rotating it a bit so that it faces the enemy, so that it's very easy for us to test it out. Okay, so yeah, scene setup is done. Now let's program the AI. Okay, so to see if the player is close enough, we have a sensor. So let's see if the player has entered the sensor area. Okay, so let's check if other dot name. So if the collider name is player capsule, it's always a good way to copy and paste the name, because if you type it down, you may end up typing maybe making a mistake in typing and end up having some stupid error, and you will never enter this if condition. So always a better idea to copy and paste the name. Okay, so now we have the player inside our sensor. So now we should respond it in some way. So for this tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make the AI look at the player. In your case, it may be it will look at the player, or maybe it will just straight away start firing at the player, or whatever it is. You can place it inside here. So for this, I will just make it look at the player. So for that, we'll have a vector 3. That will be the distance vector. So basically what we're going to do is we want to look from our position to the position of the player. So the enemy should look at the player from its own position. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the others transform position minus position of the enemy AI. So transform the position. Now we have the distance vector, and when we are going to look at, there will be some glitches. Like if you have already tried this out, you would have noticed that when we make a particular object look at another object, it literally rotates in all the directions. So we don't want it to rotate in the y direction. So what we are going to in the basically we want it to only rotate in the y direction, not in x or z. So what we are going to do is we are going to take only the y vector, and everything else we are going to just discard it. So for that, what we are going to do is have the y reset. Distance vector dot y would be same as the position of the AI itself. Okay, so now we have the distance vector. So now it's time to get the rotation, that is the quaternion. So quaternion angle is equal to quaternion dot look rotation. Okay, so we'll be taking this distance vector over here. So now we have the angle with the amount of angle we should rotate. So let's do that. Transform dot rotation. This would be equal to we will going to slurp a bit over here. Quaternion dot slurp. For dot rotation dot x, and the target would be angle and basically the time would be like maybe 1 or 2 depending on what you like. uh, yeah. So this is the transformer rotation. So from the rotation of the enemy eye to the target angle. So this is going to turn the capsule, the enemy eye capsule, towards the player. So let's assign it. Enemy eye would be here. We can just drag and drop it over here. Cool. So this is done. So let's write a program for player. Let's create a folder. Okay, so this is for player movement, player controller. So we are going to have a player controller that would take input from the keyboard and would move the player accordingly. So let's have a public int that will store the speed. Okay, let's get the input from the keyboard. Get key code should be W. So we are moving forward. We need a rigid body for this. Private rigid body. So at start we'll just assign it. Rigid body should be get component. Rigid body. And here we're going to apply some velocity. Velocity would be transformed or forward into speed into time dot delta time. So this is going to be our forward speed. We are going to do the same for right, left and back. Okay, so for yes it would be into -1, or you can have a minus speed here as well, but this would be better when someone reads it. It's kind of easy to understand. And A would be to go left. B would be to go right. Okay, so this is the basic movement of the player. Let's see if these things work or not. Okay, for these to work we should assign it. So this is assigned. Player script is not assigned yet. So this is 200. So let's check it out if it's okay for us. Okay, we are moving close. Okay, we're kind of pushing it. Okay. The problem is with the box collider. This should be trigger. Okay, so let's try it now. So we are. So as soon as we enter, it is looking at the player, but it kind of flipped. So let's check it out why that happened. Okay, so I was able to find out like what was causing it. The main reason was here this calculation is literally not needed because this kind of messes up everything. So I don't know what I was thinking. So let's just delete this. And after this, we need to rearrange these two dimensions, that is x and y. Basically, as I told you, we want it to rotate only on the y axis and not on x or z. So we should set it 0 over here. So once we do this, this kind of works perfectly. So here we are not literally slurping, because in one instance we are just rotating from this rotation to this rotation. So basically you can use a transform dot rotation is equal to angle as well, but this kind of goes with the standard, and this would be the best way to use it. And most of the cases we are going to use it because in the actual games we need this enemy AI to turn with, it should have a smooth rotation, not just like instant rotation to look at the player. So for this I'm keeping as it is. When it comes to actual gameplay, we need to like slurp this over a few seconds from update itself. So yeah, let's check it out how it works. So as soon as the player approaches the enemy turns to the player and it does some action. That action depends on your game. So basically, this is the simplest and very a fast forward way to understand like, how we sense the presence of player near an enemy AI, and how the enemy responds to it. So hope by watching this video, maybe I have saved a bit of your time. If it has, do leave a like and do consider subscribing to my channel. I will be covering more content. These are the simple ones. As we move forward in my dialogue series, we are going to cover more complex programming that we do, and hopefully that will help you save even more time, and maybe will help you to finish and publish your own game as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in my next video.